one of the main apologetics for Christians in the West these days should be us presenting a more humane view of the world and of what it means to be a person. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So that's part of what I'm saying. That's a pastoral and theological issue. Now, part of where you were hinting at, though, what I would also say is this is a massive problem in the church. And
Massive.
I'm already getting not just notes from laity. I get a lot from pastors. I spoke to a group of a couple hundred pastors just recently, and I had one come up to me, and he was not in good condition, and he just said to me, until 2 months ago, my wife said I was the Energizer Bunny. It's late 40s, I think. I could always do more. It was great and everything. And then his body finally said, enough, right? It's kind of the whole, the body keeps a score. And also, and he lifted his hand was just shaking. And he said, it's been like this for 2 months. I can't control it. I've stopped. I had to quit my job. And there are all these things going on. He's literally falling apart. And then I end up giving my talk, and then talking to some other pastors. One pastor came up to me privately afterwards, and he said, I left this ministry. It was too stressful. He didn't actually completely live the ministry because he found something else. But as soon as that became known in his area and denomination, all of these other pastors, one-on-one, privately, confidentially, would come to him. And he said 2 pastors within a month after this news told him separately and privately, I've considered suicide in the last year. And I hear, and it's so much about, obviously there's other factors, the politicalization of the church, all that kind of stuff. But actually what I'm commonly hearing is just these folks are worn out, and they have such unrealistic expectations of what they should have been doing. And the church has such unrealistic expectations of what they should be doing. And so I think the church isn't in a super healthy place in this stuff. And so that's part of what I'm really concerned about.
Have you been listening to our episodes? Because I feel like this is all that we've been talking about.
That's terrible to admit, but I haven't heard one yet.
You're a busy guy. So, because I've been a pastor, and we worked with organizations like Care for Pastors. I work with the search firms like Slingshot and Vanderbloemen. You're like the kind of like, the big players on the pastoral placement. And the thing that I keep hearing over and over and over again is, it's bad. I think what you're seeing is some of the ministries have been built around this idea of performance, the show, and it's just gotten infinitely higher as time has gone on. And I think churches have lost the idea of contemplation, of thinking through these things. I think it was Jared Wilson had written an article for the Gospel Coalition, and he said, Pastor, you're paid to stare out the window.
Yeah, that's right.
And I thought that was very good. But I have my friends at the Center for Pastor Theologians. They created the organization because they saw that basically pastors were, they talk about one church where they had been on staff where their job was basically to send out emails and create videos.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm trying to read Augustine's Confessions and I have to shut my door and people think I'm doing all this really bad stuff. And but that's where we're at, is that the idea of the life of the mind, the heart, it's about the big personalities. I mean, even with Vanderbloemen, they had mentioned to me, I don't know if the statistic is still the same, but they said 50% of all their pastoral placements have no theological education.
Oh, wow.
And that jarred me, because I went, well, that means they're looking for the managers, the business administrators, and the celebrity personas.
Yeah.
But we're missing a lot of the scriptures, of this disciplines, the discipline of the mind, relational health, the longevity of, what was it? Eugene Peterson talked about an obedience,
a long obedience in the same direction.
In the same direction.